Hey,
And we are live.
we are live. Let me just quickly change my background. I
Great,
want to put a
great,
green
great,
screen,
great, 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 great.
you know, just to stick with my theme. I don't know what's my okay. Here's my green screen. Everybody, welcome to Smart Cities. Hey, welcome. Oh,
How's it
okay.
run? How's it run? Can you hear me? Can you hear me that side?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly, my good sir.
Great, 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 great. How are we doing today, man? How are we doing?
Um, we doing okay. This is a live interview on both our research projects, which are very much interrelated, because I'll be focusing on smart cities and how will our residents in cities adapt while new
Uh-huh.
interventions transition the quality of lives in cities, you know?
That
So how are you doing on that side?
that I'm great, man. I'm great. In
Yeah,
fact,
yeah.
that sounds like a juicy topic, because the way I'm looking at things in terms of my research topic, we
Uh-huh.
sort of relate. Because mine looks at how the economically marginalized will basically adjust towards the transition to the fourth industrial revolution, right?
Can you
And
just quickly repeat
yeah,
that?
yeah. Hmm?
Can you quickly just repeat that?
How the economically marginalized adjust to the transition towards the fourth industrial revolution, basically.
Okay.
So
Okay.
basically, this paradigm shift has been inevitable,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
COVID-19, the pandemic, has proven to be like a point in history. It's like a catalyst, basically. So everything is just accelerated rapidly. So things are changing, and we can see
Yeah.
it, in front of the eye. So yeah, man.
Well, I agree with that, and the
Mm.
effects of COVID-19 on how we plan with everyday lives, well, irrespective of cities or, speaking of urban peripheries, you'll find that already, like COVID-19 is impacting a lot of people and
Mm.
countries in various ways, economically, health, like
Yeah,
determining also how people interact with each other on a daily basis. People are not
yeah.
seeing each other the way that they want to see each other because of this pandemic, like you've mentioned. But yeah, I
No,
just
that's
had a few questions that I wanted to ask you, and
all right.
I
Shoot,
wanted
shoot.
us to like also engage in how we managed to come up with our projects and the challenges, the goals that we wanted to show with our
Yeah,
different projects.
yeah. I won't lie. I had a few challenges myself in terms of physically engaging with my research topic. Everything has just been so digital because most of it was done at home. I
Yeah, yeah,
couldn't I couldn't exactly go to areas and capture the exact imaging I want and get like the atmosphere that I need to guide my project the way I would like for it to guide.
yeah. I
So
see.
basically, yeah, man, problems have just been caused by COVID-19. So I don't know, on your
Yeah.
side, how are things, man?
Hey, man. The research challenges that I've had. Let me just see if I can add a few things on my theme,
Okay,
my
okay.
life, because I have effects here that I can use. My green screen also is an effect that
Right.
Instagram has provided for us to utilize.
Yeah, we have to transition,
Um,
new way of life.
yeah,
It's great.
but like mainly, like you said, working from home, having like technological infrastructure like that, access to internet has also
Mm,
been also one of my biggest challenges in like
yeah,
this COVID-19 pandemic, if I may say.
yeah.
But like
But
what
there
I've
was
been
a
managing to like achieve over these challenges was
yeah,
just like understanding how urban problems like escalate and they change over time. You know what I mean?
yeah. I was actually reading an article on the World Economic Forum, right?
Yeah.
It basically described what's going on in this current situation, the paradigm shift, the coronavirus as an economic reset, basically.
Mhm.
It's as if they're looking at this at a point of benefit, basically. So
Yeah.
there were some scholars involved in the World Economic Forum who actually claimed that there are actually benefits that marginalized people will gain during
Yeah.
this COVID-19. However, my research basically focused on that key aspect to actually see whether the transition will actually increase the marginalization gap, or will it in truly help the marginalized in a way, you know. So yeah, I've basically seen in history, you know, how African cities, for examples, were colonized, you know.
Yeah.
It's as if there's a way there's a system they follow, and when crises like this, the coronavirus happen, it's as if the government or the states want to impose a new way of life on people, you know,
Yeah.
in a way that could control them a certain way in which they get minimum benefits whilst the elite wealthy get you know, a large sum of the benefits. So basically, this COVID-19 pandemic, I see it more as a tool, basically, for,
Yeah.
you know, economies, the way of life just to change, you know, livelihoods to change. So
Like a new
basic,
normal, basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically that's like the core focus of my research. So yeah, man.
I see, and it's a very, very interesting approach. No, no lie, and
Yeah,
I really like enjoy the fact that you've looked into these various aspects that the pandemic is also affecting in various like aspects of people in and around the world. You know, so like looking at your title or your handle of your Instagram, which is post pandemic planning,
of
and I
course.
have to, keep my questions maybe relative to your profession, which is urban planning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just wanted to know what are the measures that we can, take into account during this COVID-19 or post pandemics.
You know, as a planner, right? I wouldn't necessarily look at what's happening now, right? I would prefer to look at how planning face in the next future. You know how, like, the lens that it will take. You know, so basically my research explains how digital infrastructure development it seems as if it's like a new a new dimension that's emerging within the planning profession, right? So it's
Yeah,
as if now, when I look at it as a designer, right, I look at it at layers, in terms
yeah,
of layers. Maybe when I'm planning an urban system, or solving an urban problem, right? I'll look at it in
yeah,
terms of layers. So you'd have your transportation networks as one layer. You'd have your buildings as another layer where people interact. You'd have your
yeah,
green spaces as another layer where there's like ecosystems. There's green spaces, right? And
yeah.
now what the fourth industrial revolution is doing is that it's introducing a new layer into planning, which is basically the digital layer, right?
Okay.
And what the digital layer is going to be doing is that it's going to be taking all these layers and then linking them together and creating sort of a system where people can now remotely navigate themselves in an urban system using a smartphone, you know. So it's as if we are moving towards a smartphone based society in a way, you know.
A smartphone based society. Yeah.
Yeah. So looking at what I've just said, you know, I just like to know, in terms of your research, right, what are like the main objectives, you know, like the goals that you're trying to achieve, you know, with your research.
What goes well, basically, like I've mentioned before, like to understand like new urban problems as they arise, over time,
Yeah,
because no one expected this kind of disruption that the pandemic has caused,
that's
but
true.
like also one of my goals that I've wanted to show was like using like digital methods like modeling, making models of plans
Mm,
to indicate how we can combat like certain issues around planning like
yeah.
during this COVID-19 pandemic, which is our focal point, as
Mm.
people right now, whether you're in business, whether you're in creative arts, you know what I mean.
That's true. That's true.
So also planning and incorporating that into my goals was also trying to achieve how to plan for risks and uncertainties, because
Resilience.
yeah, resilience, yeah, creating
Yeah.
cities that are more resilient, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those were like my goals basically in my research, but I'll also be more informative on my smart cities page, if I may say.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting page. You know, it actually caught my eye because we have um, a lot of intersections in terms of the field of knowledge that we are taking
Hmm.
for our research. You know. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so in terms of like what's been happening in history, right?
Yeah.
How been looking at it as a black person, how the system has progressed through history.
Yeah.
You know, um, you get points in history or eras, right, where policies are being reevaluated, new interventions are being radically changed, you know, to actually benefit people who are actually in need, you know. But in most cases, it's like interventions that the interventions that are made are not. It's as if it's an illusion, you know, because they partially helped the marginalized. One example I could make is RDPs in South Africa. You know how
Yeah.
the houses seemed to be giving to be solving the housing demand issue, but in actual fact, distancing, causing reinforcing exclusion, basically. So I just want to know, maybe, do you think maybe this move into the fourth industrial revolution will be different from what the authority or people in power have been promising us in history? You know, do you think there will be measures that will actually help people, or will it be delusional measures that will partially help people, or digital innovations that will mostly benefit the elite, maybe?
Well, yo, you've mentioned a lot there.
Yeah,
But in like answering your question, I do believe in helping people, as a whole, and I believe that technology will help people,
mm,
especially the marginalized, because you must understand the essentials of developing is also to change the quality of lives in areas and environments.
that,
So I believe that in the future, in the fourth industrial revolution, will help a lot of people, in terms
yeah,
of access to information, access to
mm,
job opportunities that are becoming digital right now. And if I don't know if you've noticed, but like we're moving into a world where physical hard cash is disappearing, and we're using an online economy. So
that's true.
maybe if we looking and understanding at the history of previous revolutions that have occurred, like this the production of cars, you know what I mean,
Mm,
that also led to the disintegration and degrading of the quality of cities and other environments also
yeah,
around cities. So I think if we take more innovations, like creative innovations in understanding new urban spaces in like technological aspects, you know what I mean, like
mm,
that will change our approach as well. So maybe that could give a chance to understanding different
yeah,
issues as well that people are experiencing.
that's
So I believe if we take creative measures in understanding how people are affected by also planning policies like you mentioned,
yeah,
incorporating it with how digital the world is becoming, we can, be able to analyze by the usage of data. You know what I mean? How
yeah, that's
people
true.
experience spaces and move around in cities, so we can plan ahead of them just by understanding the patterns that they utilize.
Because
And understanding from,
okay,
like you said, a black person's perspective and a black man, if I may say that.
yeah,
historically we've been disadvantaged, spatially, economically, you know what I mean, and distanced from a lot of situations. So with the use of
Mm,
maybe new technological approaches, we can mitigate such problems of, like I
that's
said,
true.
access to
And those
information.
have, yeah, those have been happening, I've been researching and I've been seeing technological advancements for marginalized and the more economically potential areas.
Yeah,
And when I look at the magnitude of the innovations, for example, there was an innovation in Ghana, right? They were
yeah,
using drones to try and sort of mitigate this issue of flooding, right? There was an urban area in Ghana. There was this river, right? So they wanted to sort of use drones to survey the plane at a 3D angular view, and
yeah,
collect data basically.
yeah,
And then they used instruments which dig and see the actual ground level of the river so that they can
yeah,
mitigate the flooding issues. However, that is like technological advancement which provide information to solve a problem, but it doesn't necessarily solve the problem. Because such information is given to different academic institutions for research and innovations to emerge, right? But when you're
yeah,
looking at the innovations that are in places of economic potential, you get to see how congestion is being solved by maybe monitoring parking lanes, because in London apparently what causes a congestion is that people drive around in this grid system that they have looking
yeah,
for parking, right? So they want to collect data in terms of which parking spaces are available just to solve these urban issues. But that was like just an example. There's obviously many more innovations such as these in these economically these areas of economic potential, right?
yeah.
So what I'm saying is that in those areas, the innovations actually solve the issues pragmatically. But when you look at the innovations that are being implemented on the marginalized, more economically marginalized areas,
Yeah.
you see that it's more of a thing of in the future. They're not getting solved now. So it's
As
a thing of
a,
we always have to keep waiting. I'm talking from a basis of a marginalized person, economically.
yeah, 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 yeah,
So it's as if we always have to keep waiting. So all I'm saying is that capitalism is necessary, but poverty can be redefined. People don't have to starve to death for the richest person to be the richest. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
And I
Yeah,
feel like in post-pandemic planning and also in smart cities, you that's where the use of technology comes into play to also reduce um uh, exclusion, if I may say, inequality of
yeah,
people on a daily basis, and to also develop like technology that makes sure that it does not benefit other people at the expense of other people, you know
that's
what I
true.
mean?
Yeah,
So basically equity in the world. So
mhm,
yeah, I fully agree with your position on that, and
yeah.
I really want to say thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's been great. It's been great, man.
Yeah, everybody, we've started this live interview without introducing ourselves. I will start with myself. My name is Owakeng Mulongwana. I am a third year student doing my post grad also in urban and regional planning. I know it's a complicated situation, but yeah, I'm also an artist. I'm a creative, and I'm pursuing my research in smart cities. Thank you. I give it over to you.
Thank you, man. I'll just introduce myself. I'm Tlotlo Mothwane. I'm basically same situation as he is. I'm doing my BSc in urban planning. I'd
Yeah,
like to branch into urban design because I'm a fine artist. I like you know envisioning spaces. you know, basically. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm amalgamating with the urban design
Mhm.
profession, right? However, this has been a great interview, man. I'd love to see more of information, you know, from your side, you know, and because you know it's really a fascinating topic, you know.
Yeah. I really am grateful for this interview. Thank you so much, and
Cheers, man.
I hope we do this again. Enjoy.
Good luck, man. Mm.
Thank you. Same to you. Sir.